If you have a man that is like even just slightly above average, like how do you not spend almost all your time just like bragging about him? As far as I'm concerned, bragging about my husband is like my favorite extracurricular activity. It's like a full-time hobby because here's why. My younger self, I've seen some shit when it comes to men. Like I've been in the trenches. Okay. So when I found my husband and I started dating him, like I was marking all that territory. Like that mine. That mine. And 7 years later, despite all of our struggles, despite all of the stuff we've been through, despite all of the things that
This is the type of woman that motivates her husband to be the best man possible. And she is who more single women need to listen to instead of that single woman that says that men shouldn't be praised for doing the bare minimum. Because there is no minimum. You're not his job. You're his partner, and you should both appreciate doing the little things for each other without expectations.
You said if you don't know what you want, how's your partner supposed to? What do you want?
I want someone who has a high level of integrity. I want someone who's kind, not nice. And I want someone who is very disciplined. Because the thing is, like, people talk about, oh, I want this job, I want this lifestyle, yada, yada, whatever it is. I think if you focus on core values and characteristics of people, that is something that you can go a lot further with because they will end up being there. Your partner doesn't need to be everything for you. We are social animals. It's not fair to put everything on a guy in this situation to be your best friend, your confidant, the one that's supposed to provide you excitement, but also stability and security. It's not fair to ask one person to give you all these things when most of us can't even give it to ourselves.
Sure.
So it's looking for what you need, not necessarily what you want.
Finally, a woman said something real on that show. The difference is crystal clear. The more experience a man gets, the more value he brings to the table, the more he's willing to protect and provide. The more experience a woman gets, the higher her expectations skyrocket while her ability to pair bond crashes. She ends up wanting everything from a man she's no longer able to truly appreciate or keep.
Does that make sense for you as far as like why divorce is inherently more risky for men?
I just feel like you're saying because women tend to be the person who initiates a divorce, correct?
Yes.
That's why it's riskier for men. But why do women tend to end divorces? And with successful men that have money, they cheat.
She said it earlier.
They do all these things that women don't want to
She
put
said it
up with.
earlier. It's
So
a feeling.
why?
Feelings
Yeah.
change from day to day.
Yeah,
time
so
to
I
time.
could have been in love with the person at the moment, but if that person is no longer treating me well just because we're married, I have to say no. It's
That's the
because he
point.
can't be a good husband.
So as a
That's all I'm
man,
asking.
if I marry you and
Yeah.
you decide, you know what, he's not the guy I thought he was anymore, I'm leaving. You take half my stuff and maybe.
So is there no risk
No?
without reward?
Oh, so what's
You married me, right?
No. So once again, this is why
You
men
wanted to marry me.
don't wanna
You
get married.
thought you loved me enough that it would be worth it to you to marry me and
So
take
real
the
quick,
risk.
hold on, stop the show. You just basically admitted it with your own words why guys don't get married.
You will never know a woman until she has leverage on you. You could be with a woman 5, 10 years. Until she has leverage on you, that's the only time you're gonna know who she really is. When she gets pregnant or when you get married. That's when her true colors show. I'm so scared to ever let a woman get leverage on me. I had a friend, he was begging his baby mama, I'll send you $1,000 just to send me a picture of my child. Women wield power like a tyrant. You have to manufacture situations to test that woman before you get her pregnant, before you get married, because you will never know.
This is the core issue nobody wants to say out loud. Modern women are drowning in entitlement. They demand a traditional man who pays for everything, leads, protects, stays loyal forever. Yet they refuse to be traditional in any single way themselves. No cooking, no respect, no submission, no peace, no loyalty, nothing. They want the benefits of 1950 with the rules of 2026. That contract only works one way, and men finally woke up to it.
There is a big difference between a bitter baby mama and a frustrated single mother. If she says, I don't like that you have a girlfriend, so I'm not letting you see our child, that's a bitter baby mama. If she says, I think it's BS that you pick and choose when you want to see your kid, that's a frustrated single mother. If she says, I'm increasing child support if you don't do things my way, that's a bitter baby mama. If she says, I need you to step up and pay for and take care of the child we made together, that's a frustrated single mother. If she won't hand over the child because you were 3 hours late for pickup, that's a frustrated single mother. But if she won't hand over the child because you were 3 minutes late for pickup, that's a bitter baby mama. A very important thing in co-parenting is to not treat a frustrated single mother like a bitter baby mama and vice versa, because these two women are not the same.
A shocking new claim about the falling marriage rate is raising a lot of questions right now. A new study says the reason fewer people are getting married is because there's a shortage of, quote, economically attractive men.
Ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right? Maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. You know, that I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. Yeah. So then you say men suck. I'm looking at you going, I'm not a dude. I wouldn't date you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, self-perpetuating problem. Not enough women calling out the fact that women are not desirable right now, in my opinion, right? They're sexually desirable, but I wouldn't want to take you home to mom desirable.
So more physically attractive, I would say more emotionally available, more romantic, more energy, optimistic for the future, more time to live life and travel the world before starting a family, more fertile, less baggage and trauma. That's really big. The more relationships you've had, you get more baggage, you have more relationship trauma, you're jaded. More open to new ideas, more agreeable, typically easier to build a life with. Like we were talking about before, the more partners you've had, you've probably landed on a guy who's a top G. And once you've been with a really top guy, you're not going to be happy with Mr. Normal.
Our grandparents didn't have dating apps, endless options, or social media validation. They picked one person, worked through problems, and built something real. Today, women ignore 1,000 good men chasing the same 10 guys who will never commit. Then at 35, they sit on podcasts crying, "Where are all the good men?" The good men were there the whole time. You just walked past them for a decade thinking someone better was around the corner.
Why would you rather have a young, inexperienced, possibly naive and immature young woman who has not really accomplished anything? Maybe she hasn't found her own way. She hasn't made anything of herself just yet. Why would you want that over a woman who is older, wiser, more experienced, and more independent? She's not going to take all your money. She doesn't need you, but she wants you.
A guy values a woman's sexual purity above all things because we can build off of that. Guys want a woman with low body count first and foremost. That's the ultimate flex. Not how much you can throw it down on him doggy style, or how much you can throw that ass back, or your BBL, or your 1900 lip injections. None of that matters. Are you a or are you not a? And if you're not a, guess what? Gold tier status.
Would you be interested in a real social experiment then? You get 12 of your girlfriends who have even survival skills, or we can collect 12 who don't, and then give them just a knife apiece and send them off into the wilderness.
They already do this. Do you watch Naked and Afraid? Yeah.
The women do.
Women survive just fine by themselves.
No, they went over to the men, and here's what happened.
They did this in a
were
Mr.
crying,
video.
they were freezing, and they went over and begged the men to help them, and the men finally did.
I've seen episodes where the women have hunted. We'll see.
I'm not disputing that women can't groups and teams. I mean, women are not stupid. When you're talking about all the labor jobs which keep society going, that requires a great degree of physical strength, and physical strength is multiplied by multiple men. Oh, you don't think so? You think it's just done by machines. And machines take a great amount of physical strength to use. A gal here who said she was in mate. So I don't know where you get the idea that raw strength is not still the staple of human labor, because it still is. We have labor-saving devices, but strength is still very much key in labor.
Older women love blaming men for choosing younger women, saying it's because they're easy to control. No, men choose peace. After years in the workforce, after the divorces, the arguments, the constant criticism, high-value men finally get to pick who they spend their life with. And they pick the 23-year-old who smiles when he walks in the room, instead of the 38-year-old who starts every conversation with complaints and eye rolls. It's not manipulation, it's survival.
If you give the average man in the United States right now, 25 years old, $5 million, he'll never have to work again. And his retirement, right, he can spend liberally. And he would never have to work again. He would have money left over after he died. And he make that a year.
I think right now, because I live in New Jersey, which is one of the more expensive, countries and stuff.
It's an expensive country?
No, not country, sorry, state.
It's more of an expensive state. And so I don't even think with right now how the economy is, it's like $1 million is basically nothing right now. I'm just saying.
What are you talking? $1 million
That's a
is
lot.
an astronomical amount
I
of
mean,
money
think
for
about how-
basically anybody.
They spent 10 years calling every normal man a creep, a weirdo, or not tall enough. So when an actual gentleman holds the door open, they freeze. They literally don't know how to react because real chivalry doesn't fit their victim narrative. They've been trained to see kindness as weakness and respect as oppression. So they stand there confused, phone in hand, trying to figure out if they should say thank you or call security.
Problem is that there's zero advantage to marriage in the Western world for a man. There is zero statistical advantage. If you use your mind, if you use your head instead of your heart, and you look at the advantages to getting married, there are absolutely not really none. If a woman marries a man and it goes wrong, she has emotional heartbreak, fine. But if a man marries a woman and it goes wrong, he has emotional heartbreak. Plus, everything he has ever worked for is ripped out from underneath him, and he has to give that chick money forever. All you're doing is scaring men away from commitment. And then you have to add in the other hidden element. All women got together and said, we'll only have sex after marriage. Guess what men would do? Get married. But you don't, right? So now you're in Miami. I go to Miami. I can fuck anything in the club. I don't have to marry any of them. If I marry them, I get wrecked. So, let's all use our brains here. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be like, well, no.
For a guy to date you, what does he need to bring?
Stable job, good family,
Happiness.
kindness, intellectual. He needs to be smart, not just academic smart, but needs to be outgoing.
How much does a good job pay?
We're about to be seniors in college, right?
So define good job.
You define it.
Well, I would say right out of college, if my man is not making at least $90K, he's not gonna be my man.
At what age do you typically graduate college?
I'll graduate when I'm 22.
Okay, so 22, he needs to be pulling out $90K.
Oh yeah, I know so many people.
If you're
So
doing
many
the right
people.
career path and you
Yeah.
want it, if you're going for what you want, maybe it's less than 90K, but as long as you're achieving what you want
85,
to achieve.
80, no, not achieving. Motherfucker, you're saying achieving what you want to achieve. Gonna be a fucking theater or something. No.
Just
85 to 90K, I feel like is a stable income right out of college, especially I guess in our field.
Let's be crystal clear about marriage in 2026. A man signs a contract where the woman is financially rewarded for breaking it. She files for any reason or no reason at all, takes the kids, the house, half the savings, and a chunk of every future paycheck until he dies. Meanwhile, she gets to keep the independent woman title while living off his money. Any man who still signs that paper in this climate is either clueless or suicidal. Stay single, stack your money, and let them enjoy the independence they screamed for.
There's sort of this line that men should only go for women who are under 25. And if you're 25 and you don't have a partner, then you're like a gross old lady or something. And I think part of that comes from a fear that these men have that an older woman or a woman that's age appropriate will know that they're bullshit. And young women don't have the life experience to detect the bullshit. So they need somebody who's not going to realize that they're absolute garbage at sex. They need to know somebody who's too young to realize that they overplay how important they are and how smart they are and how cool they are. And the reason that they're able to do that with younger people is because they have no life experience to prove to the contrary. You can't get anything past a woman who's been dating for 20 years by the time she's 35. She's just gonna be like, nah, dude, you're trash.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they do nothing all day.
Do we need men?
No, they just sit there.
Do we need men, in your opinion?
No, because they're icky.
How did he find 3 tiny girls all dressed in just insane fashion? Tough world out there for men. It really is, both on this and the dating side of things. Somebody said, that's the same person 3 times. Thank you. That's what I think. Somebody else said, pay attention to me. You must look at me. I require attention, whether it's good or bad attention. I do not care. Just pay attention to me. Yeah, that's why they're all dressed like that and why they say things like that. It's all for shock value.
Age itself isn't the problem. Attitude is. After a decade of casual hookups and red flags, most women over 35 have become cold, guarded, hypercritical, and impossible to please. A successful man in his 40s can walk into a room and have 20 sweet, feminine 22, 27-year-olds smiling at him. A successful woman the same age usually has 0 quality options. and spends her nights wondering why. The Wall doesn't care about your degree or your corporate job. It's undefeated for a reason. Thanks for watching the Male Imperium. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.